More than 16.5 million Americans gained marriage equality last week, with decisive victories in Oregon and Pennsylvania. We have brand new lawsuits in the last few states that needed one, and the National Organization for Marriage has suffered even more losses this week. For the American Foundation for Equal Rights, I'm Matt Baum, and welcome to Marriage News Watch for May 26, 2014. Couples are getting married right now in Pennsylvania. Judge John E. Jones III issued an emphatic ruling last week overturning that state's marriage ban on the basis of due process and equal protection. Judge Jones wrote, quote, "The right plaintiffs seek to exercise is not a new right, but rather a right that these individuals have always been guaranteed by the United States Constitution." Former Senator Rick Santorum had a role in last week's victory. He endorsed Judge Jones for confirmation 12 years ago. Governor Tom Corbett has decided not to appeal the Pennsylvania decision, which means this victory is final. But incredibly, the National Organization for Marriage has claimed that they may attempt to intervene in the case. This is, in fact, not possible. The case is over. We've won. NAM simply does not have a role here. They're also irrelevant in Oregon. Last week, Judge Michael McShane overturned that state's marriage ban, and Oregon declined to appeal. NAM tried to intervene less than 2 days before the oral argument and was denied, but even though marriage has now begun in Oregon, NAM is still appealing to the Ninth Circuit for permission to intervene. They're unlikely to succeed. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Afer's case that the Prop 8 proponents had no standing to appeal, and NAM's claim for standing in the Oregon case is even weaker. Marriage is here to stay in Pennsylvania and Oregon, and it's been strengthened in Utah. There was a window in December and January during which Utah couples could marry, and last week Judge Dale A. Kimball ruled that the state must now honor the licenses that it issued. Judge Kimball is a teacher at Brigham Young University and an active member of the Mormon Church. We're down to just one state with an unchallenged marriage ban, North Dakota, and soon that state may get a lawsuit as well. Last week, 4 couples sued Montana over its ban, and 6 couples sued South Dakota. Now several couples in North Dakota are preparing to file a lawsuit of their own. A judge in Texas has ruled that a lawsuit there should remain on the slow track. A federal judge overturned the state's marriage ban in February, and an appeal is now pending before the Fifth Circuit. Both sides have asked for an expedited schedule, but that was denied last week. With oral arguments yet to be scheduled, it could be months before we get a Texas decision. A new survey from Gallup shows national support for marriage equality continuing to climb. This is the 43rd national survey to show support over 50%. This week also marks 4 years since the last time our opponents polled with the majority. And finally this week, an expensive lesson for NAM. Investigators with the Maine Ethics Commission have recommended a fine of over $50,000, the largest ever imposed, for NAM's refusal to disclose donors to a ballot measure in 2009. The Commission will meet on Wednesday of this week to consider that recommendation. NAM will likely also be required to disclose those donors, which should make for some fun reading. Those are the headlines. Subscribe here on YouTube for more on all these stories. For the American Foundation for Equal Rights, I'm Matt Baum. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.